Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 189. 189! The Game of the Year episode. Game of the Year. World's first, world review, no, it's just Game of the Year by two dorks.
The world's best Game of the Year podcast.
Yes. I'm your host, Rico, here with my co-host.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome to the podcast, this particular podcast, the Game of the Year podcast, Mr. Dayne Cody.
Mr. Ding with his own announcer. Man.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Rico to the stage.
I was going to say, I ain't paying for that.
Oh, man. Shit.
Welcome, everybody. We get together once a week, talk about video games, TV, movies, and or whatever the hell we like. And of course, this week, as it has been made abundantly clear,
Game of the Year.
Exactly. We got a tiny bit of news, not much. It's a couple big stories, actually. Yeah, if you've been here before, you know the spiel. We usually start the show with some BS, get into our what you've been playing, which is going to be replaced by our top 10 Game of the Year discussion. Because, I don't know, neither of us have really played anything new. And then news, public service announcements, and our free-for-all section. And we actually have a question this week as well. So,
that's just crazy talk.
What happened I really have nothing to report this weekend.
Good job.
So I watched a Michael Moore movie, that Fahrenheit 11/9, the one about
9/11?
Trump. No, it's not 9/11. It's 11/9.
Oh, interesting.
It's about Trump and like the whole election shit. And oh man, do you want to make your blood boil? American politics, which kind of affects us a little bit. But
it affects me greatly, seeing as my wife is American and does work in the United States.
It's a good flick, highly engaged. But honestly, I think it like raised my blood pressure.
Yeah, I can see that.
This government and politicians and all that, so frustrating.
Oh, I did watch Venom on the weekend.
I gotta watch that still. My wife doesn't want to watch it with me.
She'd probably like it.
I told her.
I was surprised. My wife actually, my wife really liked it. She thought it was really good.
Cool. She likes nerdy stuff.
Yeah, she's getting better.
Yeah, well, she plays games. She watches nerdy movies like Aquaman and wants to see him again.
She did like Aquaman a lot.
My wife likes the Marvel stuff.
I just assumed it was because Jason Momoa was like without his shirt on most of that movie, and she was like
naked the whole movie.
Yeah, I can't blame her.
My wife has a Jason Momoa, so she doesn't need to watch that shit.
Really, she has a boyfriend on the side.
Fucking guy. For those of you at home, I was flexing in the webcam while saying all that, but
I couldn't really tell because. Clearly,
gonna come smack you in the head.
I liked it. Venom. I mean, Aquaman was fucking rad.
I know you said that 2 weeks ago.
I enjoyed Venom. It was.
You didn't watch it. I thought you watched it in the theater.
I wanted to go see it in the theater, and it just never happened. Unfortunately, I was supposed to go see it one night, and then for whatever reason we didn't. So we watched it last weekend. Okay. It's. I
didn't ask you what it was about.
It's a bit weird seeing like the beginnings of Venom without Spider-Man, but I like watch it and we'll have a bigger discussion on it.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
I did enjoy it.
I like Tom Hardy.
Here's the thing. I think that if you're a big fan of Spider-Man and Venom and you know all that stuff, then I think you'll probably have some issues with that movie, just like hands down. Like there was definitely some stuff that I was like, what the fuck? Like what? But if you don't, like my wife, for example, like she has no idea. She's never heard of Venom before. Like that is her first foray into anything to do with symbiotes and Venom and shit, right?
It's not MCU, right? It's just Sony.
Yeah. It's just a side movie.
It's SCU.
Yes, Sony. Exactly.
Cinematic Universe.
Exactly. It's good though. It's fun. Like like I said, I think that if you're a big Spider-Man Venom fan, like you're gonna have some issues, and depending on the person you are, you're probably gonna either have some small ones like myself, or you might have huge ones and you might not like it at all.
Yeah,
but I think that if you don't know anything about any of that, I think you'll probably enjoy it. Like like if you go into it realizing that this is a fun popcorn movie, it's not gonna be smart. It's gonna have a few plot holes that you're gonna be like, what in the fuck? There was one in particular that I was like halfway through. I was like, wait, what? But nothing.
Okay, well, shut up. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. But like I said, my wife, she loved it. She was like, she thought it was great. She thought it was funny, and they did a good job. So there you go.
All right.
And
I did nothing
on my weekend. And then I played some games, but we're going to talk about a bunch of them. So,
Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Let me get the envelope. Actually, I don't have an envelope. Boom. So bad. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was terrible. But I knew what you were doing.
Exactly.
So, yes, Game of the Year in no particular order.
Hold on. We don't want to give away our top ones yet.
Sure, we'll save that.
Yeah, exactly. So should we start with our honorable mentions, Rick?
Okay.
We got like a list here of honorable mentions that we played that aren't necessarily like, games that we felt were the biggest games of our year. I do want to also preface this that these lists are ours. Like, these lists are games that maybe didn't necessarily come out last year, but we played last year.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a couple games on here that are like
2017.
Exactly. But we played them last year, and so these are our lists, so fuck off.
So
honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions are games you should definitely play. If you're on the fence or interested in playing, you should definitely check out these games. And if you've been listening to us all year, you've already heard us talk positively of these games. So
yeah.
Tetris Effect. Fantastic version of Tetris. Probably the best version of Tetris. The only con I can say, no multiplayer. But
fair enough.
It is meant to be played in VR. So,
that's a game that I've been meaning to pick up, and I still have not. But
I'm honestly surprised they haven't added VR to that, or multiplayer to that, even in VR. Another VR title, Beat Saber. Fantastic rhythm. What do you call it? Rhythm action game? Rhythm lightsaber game? I don't know.
A beat rhythm game? I don't know.
Anyway, lightsabers, chopping blocks in half, freaking awesome in VR. Cool soundtrack.
Grooving out to the beats.
And it gets you sweating. Awesome game. Call of Duty, Black Ops 4. I had a decent amount of fun with the multiplayer. I'm like, this is really good.
That's good, seeing as the whole game is multiplayer.
Blackout is really good. Their attempt at Battle Royale is, pretty fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely pretty surprising considering the lack of a single player. Everyone was kind of poo-pooing and just like, Battle Royale, Call of Duty, and it's like, actually, it was a pretty solid Call of Duty, better than the last few entries in terms of multiplayer.
I'll say this about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. If it had a single player, I would have bought it.
Mm-hmm. And a few people, but that didn't hold them back. Their sales did perfectly well without a single player, so they answered one of their suspicions of if we probably cut single player, I'm sure we'll do just fine, and that absolutely did happen. So, but yeah, good game. Celeste.
Yep.
I played it on Switch. Came out January last year. Now on Game Pass, so if you're an Xbox gamer, no excuse not to play it. Fantastic 2D side-scrolling platformer by the guys who did Towerfall. Amazing soundtrack. Cool story. Touches on mental health. It's I had a really good time with it.
That is on my to play list that is currently, I think I downloaded it this week and put it on my Xbox.
So close to being on my top 10, except for that there were so many other fantastic games this year that just spoke to me more. You know, had it made a deeper connection with me, it could have easily bumped another game on the list.
Right.
But, you know, I'm cool with being crazy, so my mental health issues don't bother me.
Oh, wow.
Dead Cells, this is another 2017, came out on 2018, was it? Version 1 came out in the summer of
Yeah, like the full release came out last year. So,
but it was on PC for like a year and a half before that.
Well, it was in early access. So
Yeah.
it was in early access for almost 2 years on PC before it actually released last year. But the official release did in fact come out last year, so.
Did you end up getting it?
Nope.
Oh, you're a goof.
I know.
Fantastic game. Probably the best 2D platforming action. The weapons and the combat are so tight, and the gameplay loop and the dodging mechanics and bosses and so forth. Such a cool game.
I kept eyeballing it during the Steam Winter Sale, and it was like, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? Should I buy it? Should I buy it? Yeah. It's like I said, it's definitely one that I will be picking up. It's just, yeah.
I'm waiting for it to go on sale on Switch, and then I'll own it on every platform.
I thought about picking it up there, but I've heard that is really not the best version of that game. So I'd rather play it on PC or another platform.
PS4 and PC.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Fighters with the Z.
Fighters!
Fantastic new.
Wait. Do you mean with a Z, right?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said a Z.
Whatever.
What the hell's wrong with you?
That's how I say it. Dragon Ball Fighters.
You do know it's just Dragon Ball Fighters, right?
Shut up. Fantastic. Fantastic new entry into the fighting game genre. 3-on-3. Filled the void that was left by Marvel vs. Capcom's disastrous Infinity. Ugh, barf. Awesome fighting, amazing visuals. Made me actually want to go watch Dragon Ball, which I managed to restrain myself from doing because I'm not that crazy.
You did, but I watched a shitload of Dragon Ball this year, and it was glorious.
Yeah, that's my pile of anime shame.
Oh, dude.
Anyway, yeah, fantastic fighting game. One of the best this year, honestly, and it being totally new franchise. But it
Seriously,
comes from
Dragon Ball FighterZ Kai. Just do it now. It cuts out so much of the bullshit you don't need to know about it. Dragon
Ball. Is it on Netflix?
No.
Okay, well, until it comes to Netflix. Subnautica. You didn't play this one, did you?
No, but I have downloaded it because it was free on Epic Games Store.
You got it on the Epic Games Store, yeah.
It's literally sitting there. I haven't. I have yet to actually play it, but I have downloaded it. I've added it to my account. How's that?
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't bother because I had it on Steam. So
right.
Anyway, it's one of these survival crafting games. Crash land your spaceship. You can find the podcast for more in-depth impressions earlier in the year, but it's one of the more unique crafting exploration games, and to be honest, has one of my biggest frights of the year came from this game. It's underwater. You're in the ocean. You're diving around. You're getting materials. You're working to build up to a little bases and so forth, but I'm in a field of kelp, and then a shadow goes over me. And then I just pan the camera over, and there's this this gigantic freaking undersea dragon snake thing that literally I must have been the size of a pebble to it. And it just let out this blood curdling roar, and I literally shit my pants. That was one of the most memorable frights I've had in a game. Such a cool game. And unlike a lot of the other crafting survival games, it has a story, an objective that's unraveling. So it's not just build stuff, there is a story.
Right.
The Messenger, fantastic 2D Castlevania side scroller, Ninja Gaiden-esque on. I think it's on everything now, I believe.
It's definitely on PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and the Switch. So
I played it on Switch. I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through. I never beat it, but it's a pretty awesome game.
Fair enough.
I really liked it. The music had a lot of humor in it. Tight gameplay. Definitely, if you're into that genre of game, if you're looking for one, it's definitely worth checking out.
Fair enough, man.
Dayne put Warframe on here, so I'll let him talk.
Dude, Warframe, like, they just keep killing it with that game. They keep releasing free content, and not just like little bits here and there, but like these massive, huge chunks of content that are about the size of like a Destiny Forsaken pack, except that instead of like bending you over and making you pay for all of it, they just give it to you. They're like, hey, what's up, dude? How about
they just bend you over and give it to you?
No, they're like that guy in the corner, and they're like, hey, man, check out my trench coat. You want to buy? Wait a minute. Here, just take this. Man. And that's exactly what they did. They're just like, yo, here. And they just released this giant area that's like Warframes and stuff and a whole new way to get around. You got fucking hoverboards in that game now and massive areas, and they're releasing new Warframes, and like they just keep releasing content for free, and the game just gets better and better. And like I cannot not highlight that. Like, it's like, I know I kind of got sucked into this last year, kind of before the Destiny 2 thing, while I was waiting for Destiny, like the first Destiny 2 to launch on PC. But like this year, I put a bunch of time into it. They've released a bunch of like new content packs. It's just like straight up, and it's free. Like, fucking, what are you waiting for? Like, go download it. Like, those guys,
game is cool.
You know, it's freaking space ninjas and like all kinds of cool shit, and it's all free. Like, and they don't. I think that they managed to do free game right. Like it's just like, yes, you can. There's multiple ways you can give them money, but at no point does it feel like they're holding you back because you're not paying for some shit. Like, it's really well done. So that's definitely, like, that was almost on my top 10 again this year, but it just, there's a few other things that kind of needed to be there. So,
they're Canadian, so that makes them awesome.
Hell yeah. And that being said,
Switch too, isn't it?
They're launching on Switch very soon. I don't know if it's out fully yet, but it's like, it's coming very soon to Switch. So it's out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC currently. It's coming to Switch.
It says November 20th for Nintendo Switch on the wiki.
There you go. Then it's fucking out now. Just play it on the go. Pick it up on your Switch. I don't necessarily know that I'd want to play that on my Switch, but hey, to each their own.
If it's linked to the PC version and you can grind stuff out, that's not bad.
That'd be kind of cool. And then Moss. Moss came out last year, and if Astrobot Rescue Mission wouldn't have come out this year, this would have been on my top 10. That game is super awesome. It's in VR. It's also out on PC now, so if you own a different headset, if you own a Vive or you own an Oculus, like, fucking pick this game up and play it. It's great. It was one of the first real kind of full games that came out. I played it on PSVR. Quill is a wicked character. She's great. It's just so cute, and it's just done so well, and it feels like a full game. It doesn't feel like a VR experience. Like, and it does the VR so well, and it's just. And you can freaking high five Quill. Like, it's just, that's awesome. And the little mouse, you just like reach out and, you know, give her a high five. She's like, yo, what up? Like, it's rad.
I bought it sitting on my pile of shame.
Yeah, I know. That's a VR game. Like, if you own VR, doesn't matter what VR, like, you need to own that game because it deserves to be in your VR collection. So yeah, that's definitely also a must play.
Yeah.
Awesome game.
So, getting to our top 10s.
Yeah.
Besides our number ones, everything else 2 to 10 is in no particular order. They're interchangeable. We love them all the same. But our number one is our personal. This was the best game experience I had all year.
Yeah.
And it is anyway. Me and Dave, we don't share. We only share 4 games on our lists.
Yeah, it's actually surprising. They're like, it's actually funny that we were looking at these 2 lists. And I mean, we play a lot of the same games, but we also don't play a lot of the same games. And part of this too is you've played some games that I haven't, or I've played the beginnings of games, but I haven't finished them or gotten far enough along to feel confident in saying I've enjoyed this game enough that even if the end totally sucks, I'm still gonna love the game. Kind of moments.
I beat every game except for 2 on my list.
That's fair, and I've only beaten 2 on my list. Well, wow. Technically 3, kind of, if you will. So, yeah,
you beat this one. I know you beat 3.
So that one I beat. And
this one?
That one I beat.
One?
Yeah. And I haven't
fully
finished that yet. No.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I mean, technically this, can you ever really beat it? I mean,
no.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but anyways.
Number 10 for me.
Yes.
And this is on both our lists.
It is.
Mind you, not Dayne's number 1. Destiny 2. Forsaken.
I won't lie. It was that's kind of close to being my number 1. I'm not gonna lie. We played a lot of Destiny this year. Destiny 2 Forsaken came out and changed Destiny 2 a lot and added so much.
From 2 terrible expansions. Well, Curse of Osiris was terrible. Warmind was okay.
Better.
Yeah. To have completely dropped Destiny for 6-7 months.
Yeah,
I think I beat the Warmind campaign and then I didn't play it again.
Same
until Forsaken came out. I was just done.
Yep.
PAX came around. I wasn't we gotta go to the Bungie booth or the Bungie stuff. I just no, I don't care.
Yeah,
I was so out, not even excited for Forsaken, and then. You've heard it week after week with This Week in Destiny. We suck it, snuck it in, suckers. I can't stop playing the bloody game.
I honestly probably put more hours into Destiny this year than any other game on this list, probably.
Oh, I know I did for a fact.
So there was a part of me that almost felt like it should be number 1 because just the amount of time I put into it. For me, it was a close. It was almost there, but
Destiny is my number 1 ongoing game as a service. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Instead of a Fortnite or a Division, what else is there? Rainbow Six Siege. These games that just keep having more content and you keep coming back to over and over because at the end of the day you're hanging out with your buddies, in my instance, it's my 2 brother-in-laws and you. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're on, though our times don't always match up, but we played some Destiny 2 together.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's just the game I just keep coming back to. It's my popcorn freaking nighttime snack, just easy to jump in. There's always, with Forsaken and the way they've done, there is, for me, I've put 310 hours into Destiny 2.
Right.
And there is still so much stuff for me to do.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That's stupid.
No, and they've done some really smart changes to that game, and it's it's come a long way. Yeah, I was just realizing this is the first year since we've been recording this podcast that Smite has not been on my top 10.
You didn't play as much this year as you normally.
No, I know. I kind of fell off it a bit this year.
There was a lot of good games this year, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I even left off, and it only because I hadn't played that much. Kuni 2, Dragon Quest 11. These are games that I have that I didn't play enough to put them on my list, but they're on other people's lists.
Yep.
they were in top 10 discussions or game of the year discussions. So
for sure.
And Dayne, for your number 10?
My number 10 is, in fact, my number 10. So for me, my number 10 and my number 1 are the two that count. Everything else is interchangeable. It doesn't matter. There's no real particular order in the rest of my list. But my number 10 definitely deserves to be a number 10. Because this was a game that I started off actively hating, but finished and really liked, and may or may not have started playing over
and actually
again.
wanted to play more.
Which is fucking Darksiders 3. I cannot believe that it even made my top 10 after like Moss and Warframe and shit, but for reigniting my love for that franchise all over again. And like I said, I started off hating it, and after my first time I did not know if I was ever going to pick it up again, but those guys have made a lot of great changes, released patches,
and they're still patching it, which is great.
Yep, and they're still patching it, and made that game more or less like not just playable, but made me enjoy it. And I finished it, and I may or may not have downloaded or purchased, I should say, for like I don't even know how many times this is now.
I have the other ones I think on every console.
So there was a deal last week on GOG where they sold the first and second games, both remastered, like the 4K and blah blah blah, for together. I think it cost me $4.30. So I bought them because I wanted them on PC. I had them on PS4, but I know that if they're there, then I don't know. You know,
you're playing more on your PC.
Exactly.
You're more likely to play it on your PC.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
I liked what I played, but I just
hey man, I get it. Like I said, that first. Man, after that first playthrough, that first day I loaded it and I started playing it, oh boy, I did not think I was going to... I didn't know if I was ever going to play that game again.
I thought you were going to throw it through the window if you could.
You came real close to throwing my controller through the window.
I know.
But yet, here we are. That game ended, and it made me want to load the other ones up and play them again, because the story and the characters and everything else... Yeah. So there you go.
I'm intrigued to see if they make a 4.
Yeah, same here. I hope we do, because I would love to kind of see the finale of that story.
I'd want to see it wrapped up too.
That's the biggest thing, is I feel like they've done such a good job of skirting kind of around it, showing these 3 different perspectives. But the thing is that we have one more horseman still. There's one horseman left now, Strife, and they could easily just make the 4th game, show what Strife was up to this whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So,
number 9, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. In my opinion, the best Smash Brothers. A love letter to video games, a love letter to Nintendo characters, and more, because we've got Castlevania, we've got Metal Gear, we got Street Fighter. The list goes on. The fantastic classic mode with like different, like essentially campaign or like classic modes depending on which character you select.
Right.
There's so much stuff packed in this game, and it's just a joy to play it. It looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. 72 characters or 3 or something. Like, it's ridiculous. I haven't even unlocked them all. I think I'm in the 50s or 60s now. And you can have a lot of fun just playing by yourself. Like, you don't have to go online. And obviously it's a plus when you have your buddies all over, like, hooting and hollering. But, yeah, it's... Anyway. Fantastic game.
Smash Brothers is one of those things that, like... I enjoy playing, but I'm not great at it.
You love it or hate it. It controls. Yeah. The controls is what is the barrier to a lot of people.
Yeah, I never felt that those games controlled particularly well.
No, there's a skill to it.
Yeah.
If you don't put the time in, it feels very loose and and can feel floaty, and can honestly feel sometimes like that you're not in control at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm trying to do this, but once you figure it out and you get used to it, it's beautiful.
I'm super on the fence. I'm debating if I want to pick that up for my Switch or not. I still don't know.
Yeah, from what I know of you, I don't think you'd enjoy it as much, but I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Fair enough.
Awesome game.
Fair enough.
Switch game. Dayne, you're number 9.
I've got Hitman 2 actually.
Hitman 2.
Now it's funny because I really should preface this with Hitman 1 and 2 because I played a shitload of Hitman 2 levels, but I've also played a shitload of Hitman 1 levels, and I've been back and forth between both of them, and they're both that game's good.
The game is good.
Man, it's a game, so I have a bit of a problem with this game. It's a similar problem that I have to Civ. It's that there's parts of me that are scared to play it, because here's what happens. I play it, and then I stop playing it. And you know what I do? Unlike Civ, where I just can't stop playing it, because it's just one more turn, and the next thing you know, it's 4 in the fucking morning. Hitman 2, the problem that I have is that I
stop thinking about it.
I play Hitman 2, and I stop. And for the whole rest of the day, or night, which is the scary part for me, I'm just thinking about ways to kill people in Hitman 2.
The wheels turn.
The wheels just
done
keep
that so
turning.
much better.
And you're thinking okay, so if I do that, I wonder if I have enough time to go over there and to cut the chandelier down and drop it on his head. And I wonder if I can get to that spot in a certain time. It's all the little cogs, and it's just this constant thought in my brain that just will not stop.
It probably,
and it's I cannot play I cannot play it at night, because then I will go to bed. Yeah, I will literally go to bed, and it's my brain is just thinking about things in Hitman 2. So I have to only play it in the morning, and even then, sometimes I play it in the morning and I go to bed that night. We're talking 12, 14, 16 hours later, and suddenly I'm laying there and I'm so I wonder if I can bring my that into that part of the level so that I can drop the. Yeah, it just doesn't stop. So then I'm half afraid to play it because it's so good that I can't stop thinking about it, and it's. I have not finished
you get withdrawal from Hitman.
It's like it gets in your brain. It's like that song that you just keep singing over and over in your head.
And then you're God damn it.
Yeah, but then all you want to do is just play some Hitman 2, thinking I'll just play some more and I'll get it out of there. But
I did.
It just makes it worse.
3 missions in part 2. I did play a couple of the old ones, and I really enjoyed my time with it. It is a fantastic game. It is probably got to be one game with some of the highest replayability for a single player story game. It's crazy.
I have played some of those levels probably over 10 times at this point.
And you still haven't done everything.
No, not even close. And like I said, I'm not even fully finished. And that's part of the problem too. Is okay, so in hindsight, what I should have done is I should have just went in. I should have played the tutorial mission, and I should have went back and I should have done the sort of guided run of every level.
Yeah,
and then I should have went back and fucking played through it a bajillion times. But you know what ended up happening is now I've played the Hitman 1 first level, the mansion with the fashion show. I've probably played that one 10 times now. I've played the next level. The next 2 levels in the first Hitman game, probably anywhere between 3 and 5 times each. And now I've played Hitman 2 levels. I've played the first 3, and I've probably played them 5 to 10 times each. So it's I've played Hitman 2 fucking 3 times over if I would have actually just been playing them. But because I keep finishing a level, and then I'm it's that whole thing where you're okay, I did it that way, but
faster,
you're
cleaner.
Not even that. It's just oh, dude, now I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fucking smack that guy over the head with a salami and I'm going to kill him that way. Or I'm going to drop the chandelier on his ass, or I'm going to push him over the edge, or I'm going to drop a boat on him, or or I'm gonna just shoot him, or I'm gonna climb up and I'm just gonna be like a super badass dude, and I'm gonna like way across the map. I'm gonna set up here in my perch with my sniper rifle, and I'm gonna take him out when he comes out on the porch. Or
Classic
I'm gonna
assassin.
Exactly. Or I'm gonna shoot the helicopter and bring it down with him inside of it. Like, it's just, that's the thing. It's just, so like every time I finish playing, while I was playing, I'm like, oh shit. I next time I want to go in there and I'm gonna like poison him. I'm gonna poison the sushi, and then I'm gonna give him that, and then that's gonna kill him, and then after that, and that's the thing. So you have that fresh in your brain. So you finish the level, and then what do? You rush right back in.
Back in to do the idea you had.
Exactly, because it's
you almost
fresh.
need a notepad.
Dude,
so you don't forget.
I probably got 100 freaking saves in that game right now, because every time
that game is like the definition of a
save
PC
scum all the time.
Yeah.
Totally, it's crazy. You're thinking about doing something, so you make a quick save. So if it doesn't go the way you want, doesn't matter. You just go back and it's 5 minutes ago. It's not a big deal.
That's such an awesome. I will say that is one of the best, one of the most amazing features of PC gaming, and you can do it on certain console games. But it's such a native thing on a PC game to like, I'm going to save it here, and I can see how this plays out. Oh, rewind. And it literally takes 2 seconds to reload, whereas on consoles, sometimes it's like excruciating, so it's not really as practical on consoles as it is on PC. But
yeah, so no, like I said, Hitman 2, it gets under your skin. It's like that earworm that just...
It's a dope game.
So yeah, Hitman 2 definitely makes my list. It's great.
Number 8, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, another Switch game. The Switch dominated. Well, yeah, I put a lot of time into my Switch this year. Nintendo's big titles this year definitely, I will say, are some of my
single
favorites.
Switch game on my list this year.
Pokemon Let's Go was, for me, originally just like, baby Pokemon, like, motion mechanics, throw the ball. I don't know. The real one, Gen 8's going to come next year.
It seems pretty good. I personally am not playing it, but I did pick it up for my wife for Christmas, and she's been playing it, so I've been watching quite a bit of it. It's surprisingly pretty. I'll give it that
awesome.
as well. Like,
it looks amazing.
It looks really good for the Switch. Like,
for a game...
She's been playing it just on like the TV. Like, she hasn't played it in handheld at all. But like, I was like, man, this is like surprisingly good. It runs pretty good too.
No, it's awesome
for being on the Switch. So
for a game that I totally was discounting and just like, it's baby Pokemon. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I played the heck out of it. I've beaten it. I'm going back and hunting down legendary birds. I'm importing characters from the goddamn cell phone game, which it managed to get me back addicted into playing Pokemon Go.
Dude, I'm half surprised that's not on your list. You played a shitload of Pokemon Go this year.
Yeah, way too much. That's probably... I play that stupid game every day now.
Sucker.
Yeah, I'm a sucker. And the Pokeball Plus controller, like, seriously... It's a remake of Pokemon Yellow. It's yellow, red, blue, yellow.
Yellow.
You got your partner Pokemon. Just, I don't know. Don't dismiss it. It's a pretty goddamn good Pokemon game. And if anything, it'll just get you excited for next year's version, which is going to be the more in-depth, crazy meta, new monsters. And of course, it's the classic monsters. The classic original Pokemon, which everyone has, someone they love, like Charmander or freaking Pikachu and whatnot.
Eevee.
And you can ride Pokemon, you can fly on Charizard, you can climb on Snorlax, ride freaking Gyarados. It's freaking awesome.
They've done a really good job.
Oh, yeah, and the battling's great. People are like, oh, the catching mechanic's weird. You just, and then there's no battles. But there's like tons of battles.
There's so many battles in that game.
There's so many battles. You're like, God damn it! Like,
it's
seriously.
The difference is you're just not battling Pokemon. You're just only battling trainers, right?
Well, which you're battling Pokemon, but yeah, they break it up. So it's, because usually by the end of Pokemon, it can get pretty grindy. You've fought a lot of freaking Pokemon.
I will say, and this is obviously unique to my situation with that game, it really, because it's based on Pokemon Yellow, you really forget how little hand-holding is in those games, which, for somebody like my wife who doesn't play a lot of games, this is her first Pokemon game and stuff that she's ever played.
Oh, there is
holy balls, man. Like, there's been a few times where she's just like, I'm like, oh, what are you working on? She's like, I don't fucking know. She's like, I don't know. Nobody's told me where to go. No, yeah, I have no idea how to get there.
There's a point where you can go a couple ways, and it's like, and if you didn't, you got sidetracked, and then you forgot that the one person kind of said, you should go here.
Yeah,
but you can go to 3 different places at that point, and it doesn't seem like any direction is wrong.
Nope. Or you miss the way to get into the secret hideout, or you get lost in the secret hideout and you just fucking leave. It's
I love it.
It's a very good game, but it really could use a little bit more on the hand-holdy, if you will.
That's what the internet's for.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Dayne, you're number 8.
I played a little game called Vampire. And when the game first came out, it is super unique in the fact that the difficulty it's actually funny because they have since made some changes to the game, which I think are for the best. Because initially, the combat was not great in that game, and you had kind of no choice but to do some of it, or lots of it, I should say. But the thing is that the story in that game and the way that you're getting to know characters and you're having conversations with them and you're building relationships with them, and yet you're supposed to essentially feed on them and kill them because you're a vampire, it's no other game has done
can affect
anything.
The story
totally,
or stuff you get, and
it affects a lot because suddenly that person is no longer anything to do with them is just no longer available to you. It's just gone. That part of the story is just, if you kill the wrong person, that could be the end of that whole line, or that whole it make huge changes. And the thing is the way that the game is set up, especially on the default setting when it was first released, it's directly tied to the difficulty. So if you didn't want to kill people and you didn't want to feed on them, it made the game significantly more difficult because you got a lot more experience for killing people
and being a bad vampire.
Yeah, but it's
a merciful vampire ain't as powerful as a bloodthirsty vampire.
But that's the thing, man. If you kill a ton of people in that game, not only are you so, and that was the other thing is they directly set it up so that the more of a relationship that you build with characters, the more experience you're going to get for killing them. So it's you don't want to just kill people all willy-nilly because you haven't sort of fattened them up, if you will, and gotten them where you want them. Because that's the other aspect of the game, right? Is that some of the characters are sick. And so if you make them healthy, you're going to get another extra bonus experience from it. So there's this whole weird incentive where you're trying to heal people because you're technically, before you became a vampire, you're a doctor. So you want to heal people and you want to get to know them, and then you want to kill them. Except that you don't because I at least don't, but the whole thing is this weird juggling act that's really intriguing, and I've never seen it done like that in another game before. And they have released some patches that have really done wonders for that game.
Yeah, they've fixed up the combat to make it better, right?
Yeah, and they've also set it so that if you kind of want to go in and you want to play with the story and you want to see a lot more of that, they've made the combat a little easier and stuff, so it's not as punishing and it's not as demanding so that you can kind of get through it a bit better, and it's a little bit more of like a better way for you to experience the story.
That is the one plus, I will say, of like updating patches and so forth of games. You know, like you've got the naysayers like, oh, day one patch, shipping games broken, this and that. Yes, that is a side effect of all this shit that we do have problems with games. But at the same time, they can fix problems with games. And they can make games better.
Totally.
Like Darksiders 3.
Yeah.
They made that game better. Vampire. They made that game better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I would not have thought that either one of those games would be on my top 10 game of the year when I first played them. But with patches and with time, both of those games are, in my opinion, absolutely worth playing. Like, they're absolutely worth playing. You know,
yeah, I got that one as well.
They're from smaller studios.
Never managed to get into it.
Yeah, I feel like if you're interested in like stories, and
cool.
The way that game
sounds cool. I watch you stream it.
Yeah, like that game is worth playing just for all of that. And like I said, since they've added in the other modes where you can like I said, they've kind of made they've created like more or less a story mode in that game that makes the combat a lot less of a problem. And it's a great way to get in there and just like see how that game works. And because it's like I said, I have rarely, if ever, seen a game do the things that game is doing with just the way the story and the way everything is. And it's just this juggling act between like, who am I going to kill? Because eventually you have to kill people because like you're a vampire and you have to, right? Like but it's like you want to make sure that you're trying to kill the right people, you know, maybe. And then that's the thing. I was like, there's some stories that I've come across where there's a dude that I found out is a fucking serial killer, you know, stuff like that. So you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna fucking kill that guy because that makes sense. But like, so you know what I mean? Like, so they definitely like. But the thing is that like, if I wouldn't have waited the amount of time that I did, I would never have learned that he was, you know. So it's like, so you really gotta, like I said, it's this whole balancing act between like getting to know people, helping people to see who, you know, and figuring out like, okay, like who are the people that, you know, you think should go. And it's cool. It's really, really well done. So there you go.
Yeah. I want to play it. I have it. I just never got around to it. Number 7, Monster Hunter World.
Fuck, I almost bought this during the Steam sale over the Christmas.
I came
so close.
It hasn't hit the price I want it to buy it on PC to justify buying it again.
Which is $30, right?
It came out
40
January
something.
January last year.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been intrigued to Monster Hunter. It's been a huge like Japanese sensation. Like, oh man, you gotta play Destiny or Monster Hunter. It's like one of the first original like loot grind games that's like super ridiculous. That isn't necessarily an MMO, though it has cooperative multiplayer aspects to it.
That first game on PS2 is the first and only Monster Hunter game I've played. So
it's boss fight simulator. It's not even a simulator. It's just gearing up and going and fighting a giant boss. Like
finding the giant boss.
Finding and then fighting.
And then killing a giant boss.
Killing and then using the parts of that creature to craft better gear and then doing it over again. And then finding a bigger, badder monster. And then an even bigger, badder one. Yeah. And meanwhile, with a decent campaign mode, multiplayer as well, which, you know, it's Capcom. There's some issues with the multiplayer.
It's maybe one of the weakest parts of that game, unfortunately.
Well, it works. It works. Yeah. But it is like jumping through hoops. It's not the most streamlined system in the world. It's got some issues. But either way, awesome game. I think I put 60-something hours in it. I beat the campaign. I wanted to play more, but I kind of got to a point where I needed to start relying on other people. And unfortunately,
nobody else is really playing it. Yeah,
no one else. There's people playing it. I'm like, I gotta play with people off the internet, but I really enjoy being in a chat room on Discord or, you know, in game and chatting with people and hanging out with my friends. That's why I was like, I'm hoping for it to get, when it gets to that point on 30, like on PC where it's cheap enough, you'll get it.
Oh yeah,
Teacup will get it. Maybe Vert will get it. And the game's awesome because it's like Dark Souls in that it's punishing. Mm-hmm. It's even more punishing than Dark Souls because there ain't no real lock on. You control your attack direction 100%. And then the weapons themselves are like different fighting styles. There's the depth in this game is insane.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's insane, the depth of the fighting, the combos, the mechanics. You have the most basic weapons to like transforming axes that have like ridiculously complex like fighting game type mechanics to them and
combo systems and cooldowns and oh yeah.
But then when you take down one of these moeffers, it's like, yeah, like physically getting up and cheering and like you're super happy and pumped. And not to mention the game looks fantastic. Like, the monsters are some of the most detailed, like
the world they built there is really amazing with all the the life and stuff that happens.
You sit there watching these creatures you're hunting and the amount of detail, the animation. It's like these are real creatures that existed.
Not to mention every once in a while you'll be in the middle of fighting something and something bigger comes along and fucking eats the thing you were fighting and you're like, fuck.
Something even bigger comes along. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with Monster Hunter World. It's super surprising. It's Capcom's like biggest selling title, period,
of all time.
And yeah, it's an awesome game. Like, it's so good. And it's a little bit also on my pile of shame because like I beat it and then I didn't get into like the super end game stuff as much as I would have liked to.
It
was my number one played game on Xbox.
Yeah,
when those emails went out, it's like, you played da da da, and it was like 60, like I said, 60 something hours of Monster Hunter World.
Fair enough, man.
Dayne, your number 7, which is also on my list.
Yeah, Astrobot Rescue Mission. This, I mean, like we said, these are in no particular order. This game is awesome. VR title, PSVR title,
exclusive,
just, like
exclusive,
like that. That game is so good. Yeah, it really is, in my opinion, as funny as it is, I think it's a game changer. Like, I think that game does a lot of things really well, and it's not that it does anything super different, or it's not like it's going to like change the world, but I think that it just makes VR. It's the first thing that you've seen in VR that feels like, wow, this is. Games in VR don't necessarily just all have to be first person. Ooh, I can see my hands. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they did such a good job of showcasing, like,
super
hey,
tight 3D platforming game.
That I feel like it works.
It's beautiful. It's
so
tight.
well in VR.
It's just fun.
And it just wouldn't work outside of VR. That's the thing. Like, it would be fine, and it would be a mediocre game maybe outside of VR, but because it's in VR with the charm and the fact that you're so involved in everything, it just, it's so good.
And
it's so good.
Astrobot. Yeah.
And the music in that game is fucking rad. I have maybe been listening to some of that soundtrack.
Fantastic VR game. It justifies owning PSVR. And it's been on sale for like $20.
Oh yeah.
Like,
if you own PSVR, like what are you waiting for? Pick up that game.
Absolutely. See, that's the thing. That's the one pile of shame for me is like Moss is probably just as good, and I haven't played Moss, so. But owning a PSVR this year was pretty rad. I played a lot of VR this year, more so than the first year, clearly. But it's just that just goes to show that technology is kind of coming to age, and people are realizing, we can do more than just the stand here simulator puzzle game thing.
Shoot things, grab things,
So that was on my list as well. I had it at number 5, but again,
like I said,
2 to 10, they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
My next game is Hollow Knight. It's another one of these early access games. Been on PC for at least a year and a half, if not even maybe longer.
Yeah, it was quite a while.
Yeah, I think it was maybe finished on PC, but there was expansions that came out when they finally released it to the consoles and Switch. last year. I played it on Switch. I actually own it on PC, and I had it on PC, and it was like just as soon as I knew it was coming to Switch, I just was like, no, I'm just gonna wait. Yeah, it came out in 2017 on PC. So
yeah.
PlayStation Xbox just came out in September. It came out on Switch first.
There you go.
So yeah, I played it on Switch. Fantastic, hand drawn, super eerie, like Castlevania-esque, Metroidvania-esque adventure game. Getting power-ups, learning new attacks, getting your double jump, your wall climb, your wall jump, your air dash, or ground pound, kind of, those things we're used to in those types of Metroidvania-esque games, but with really atmospheric.
I really do like
graphics, and
it's cool.
The music is awesome, and it's tough, man. Like it's Souls-like in that you collect the currency is like from killing enemies, and if you die, you have an opportunity to go back and collect it. If you die again,
that's it.
Bye-bye. They're gone. Not that it's like a total negative, but it sucks, getting beat or like, oh crap, I walked into a boss room and I have all this shit on me.
Yep.
Geo is the currency. So it's not like Souls. It's actually like a currency you pick up and you drop it if you die. Just an awesome game. Awesome little character. Cool, neat little story. A really cool world that they've created. And it seems like it's very like black and white and devoid of color, but there are areas where there are color and hints of color. Mm-hmm. And it all contributes to the atmospheric world that, you're a bug. You're in the underground. Like you're fighting other bugs, essentially. It's awesome. And I enjoyed it. And I couldn't put it down when I started. It was so good.
Right on.
And some of the toughest, there's one boss fight in particular, is one of the toughest boss fights I've, compared to even like a Dark Souls game that I've ever had. And actually, it's funny. Very similar to one of the toughest Dark Souls boss fights, which is the Gargoyles, where you fight like 3 bosses at a time.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the exact same thing Hollow Knight does. You're fighting like 3 guys at a time, and they kick your ass over and over and over again.
Fair enough.
So, Dayne, you're number 6.
It's funny, we're talking about Souls games. My number 6 is... this was a game that came out actually in 2017, but I played, I don't even know, 40 plus hours of this game in 2018, and that game is Neo, which is a samurai Dark Souls, except more complicated and fucking hard as shit.
It is a hard game,
but so good at the same time. It's a game that, like, it's frustrating because, like, I feel like that is a game that if I was back when I was younger and had time to play a ton of games, I would have absolutely loved. And to say that I do love it now, but it's a bit challenging because it's also a game that you can go in and you can play for 3 or 4 hours even and really not do much in the way of moving much of anything forward, just because of the way that game works. You move a little bit forward and then you die and then you resurrect and then you move a little bit forward, you pick up your stuff and then you die and then you resurrect.
Souls
and it's
game.
Just, yeah, totally. But it also, but because of the 3 different stances in the combat system mixed with the weapons and like all of that, it's like there's this whole extra level of complexity that they add. It's not like you're running around with a shield like in the Souls games, so you can just kind of block and stuff like that. It's like enemies can attack from multiple angles, so you've got to always be blocking from the proper stances. Like it's incredibly well done. It's a beautiful game. It's dark. It's great. I really enjoy it. It's a game that I wish I had more time for, is one of those things. Like it's hard when there's so many good games that came out this year, and like it's hard to put 2 hours into something and not that you don't make progress, but you don't make progress, if that makes sense. That being said, the game is rad, and if you're into kind of the Souls type games, like, it is definitely, you should not sleep on it. It's definitely worth playing.
Yeah, I also ended up playing it this year, even though I did buy it at launch, and literally it just sat there forever. I really like it. It's a fantastic Souls-like, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we? Okay,
we're at 5, which we've already talked about.
My number 5, which was Astrobot, so we can skip to the next, which lines up nicely with your next title as well.
Exactly.
So 2 birds with 1 stone.
This was 4. Hard for me. Like, this one was like before we were recording, like, I was honestly trying to think of, like, okay, what is my top game of the year? And, like, it was either this or what ended up at my top game, and, like, I was, like, really flipping and flopping and flipping and flopping, and, like, oh, it was so close. But at the end, the other one, I think, won out a little bit, just for obvious reasons that everybody will see, but Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yeah. That game, second time that an Assassin's Creed game has almost, like, I mean, last year it was my game of 2017 with Assassin's Creed Origins, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey this year came out, and it was like, wow, that game is incredible. I am 70 plus hours in, and I am still trucking along, and there is, like,
I know, thinking
having the female protagonist, I think, like, adds tons to the game.
Great storyline, fantastic graphics, obviously, cool, good combat system, loot system, tons of missions, gigantic world.
Fuck, like, so big. And, like, the crazy thing is that if you honestly go into it and kind of just do story stuff, you will probably only see about 40% of that map.
Oh, there's lots of areas I haven't even been yet.
Right, like, you actively have to go out of your way to go visit and explore other areas in that whole game. Like, it's crazy.
It's funny because at E3, I'm like, that was an Assassin's Creed game. The stuff they showed me, the naval combat, the conquest stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is cool, but I didn't come away like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, and it could have been maybe because I was almost discounting it at first, like, oh, I just did Origins. Right. Assassin's Creed, here we go again. It's going to be one every year.
Yeah.
You know, it's just too much. But then it's like, I got my hands on it. You know, it ended up having enough new stuff and changed stuff and refined stuff. And
just the setting, right? Like, just the whole ancient Greece. Like, that
Cassandra being, like, one of the most amazing female characters in a game in a long time.
Oh, totally.
She's so awesome. Malaka.
Everybody that plays that game, and I'm like, oh, are you playing as the guy or the girl? And they're like, oh, I played as the guy. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You want to play as Cassandra? She's fucking rad.
I watched some cutscenes with
Alexios
to see the difference with Alexios. He's like, like over, like so overacting, just like just his delivery was not great, and hers was just awesome, so nuanced,
so good.
It was fun when she was screwing around with characters or when she was being a badass.
Totally.
And she was a badass, and she was hot, and she was a badass.
Yeah. And just, like, and what a world, man.
Awesome game. I got to go back and play some of the DLC stuff. Yeah. But I haven't been able to because, man, I have problems.
So this brings us been playing too much Destiny 2?
Yeah. So this brings us to your number 4.
Yes. Forza Horizon 4. Man, that game's good.
That game is good. The Horizon games are awesome. I love them. I'm just angry at myself that number 4 is the one I've played the least.
4 is so good. That is a game that I am constantly, even though I'm probably not talking about it on the podcast that often, it's
you said because you've been playing it on your PC and stuff, so
that's the beauty. Because of the cross-play, I play quite a bit of it. I've played more of that game on my PC than I have on my Xbox One.
Well, it's real pretty on PC.
It's real pretty, especially now. Everything's cranked up, man. everything's cranked up, and it runs great. It runs so good on my new machine, and fuck, that game is just good. Like every week, the seasons are changing, and it's just there's constantly stuff to do. There's stuff to see. And I mean, as a petrol head, just getting those new cars and picking up all it just so good. Honestly, talking about it right now makes me want to go play this real bad.
I was real close to buying a steering wheel, and you guys freaking talked me out of it.
We were idiots. We should have got you guys a steering wheel.
I don't know, it was only $250. It's like half price.
Man, I tell you.
Here's hoping it goes on sale again, because it worked with PS4 and PC.
Yeah.
So though it wouldn't have worked with the Xbox, I would have played Horizon on my PC, and then I would have been able to use it with Gran Turismo.
Yeah, there you go.
I've been able to kill two birds with one stone. Anyway.
But yeah, no, that awesome is a game. If you're even remotely into cars, even if you're not, I feel like that game is great. Just the driving around and like doing barn finds and smashing stuff and doing the like speed traps and just so much of that shit is so good, and it looks so good. That is honestly one of the prettiest games this year.
That was very pretty.
I think that one and probably that game and God of War are the two prettiest looking games, like the two best looking games I played this year. I know Red Dead Redemption also looks real good, but like
Red Dead's pretty fucking awesome.
Fuck man, Forza Horizon 4 maxed out on PC, like running at almost 100 frames plus. Just, man, it looks good.
Every time I play Red Dead, I get kind of angry because I'm kind of like, I wish I had it on Xbox One X, and I honestly contemplate buying it again and starting over.
Wow.
But anyway. Okay, moving along.
Yep.
Number 3. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Is this actually Marvel's Spider-Man?
Doesn't matter. He's got a cool song. La la la.
Look out.
Here comes the Spider-Man. The best comic book video game ever. The best video game ever. It just is so awesome. I had so much fun with Spider-Man. I literally had like a shit-eating grin on my face the majority of the time that I played it, because it was just goddamn fun. Swinging around, beating up guys in a fantastic Long Island, Manhattan that they created. Super tight gameplay, awesome combat, fun story, an amazing interpretation of the character, awesome voice acting all around. You know, there's technical things here and there you can nitpick. Like, no game is perfect. If you want to like pick at its pores and put it under a magnifying glass, no video game is perfect. But the experience, the time, and the fun, the story and the characters that I love in this game, and I like where they're headed. There's definitely going to be a sequel. It's one of the best-selling PlayStation exclusive games ever. And
I think didn't they announce that it is, or at least the fastest selling?
No, it is. It's like one of the best-selling PS4 exclusives. Period. The best-selling, not one of the. There's going to be a sequel. I like where it's headed. We've got Miles. We got Peter Parker. We got some amazing character development going on. A cool world. To me, it was a perfect video-ass game in terms of just, here's a video game of a character we love. Almost like, it's kind of like a reinvention, reboot, almost like the Spider-Verse stuff is.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. Like, one of the best portrayals of Spider-Man 2. The actor, I think it's Yuri Lowenthal is the actor who portrays the Peter Parker in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Just awesome.
Kills it.
Yeah. Amazing
Spider
game.
Cop.
I don't know how you don't own this game.
I was just gonna say,
I don't blame you.
That is by far and away for me. That is my biggest shame this year. Was it came out at an awkward time.
There's just so many games. I don't blame you.
Exactly. Like it came out, and there was a ton of other games that came out at the same time as it, or right around it.
Yeah.
And then like there was the whole Sony being like, oh yeah, we'll hook you guys up with another copy, just give us some time. That it never really materialized. And then by then there was like, I was 3 games deep into the fall, and Assassin's Creed was here, and like, and it just
Forza.
And it sucks though, because that is by far and away my biggest like I mean, I played the first 4 hours of that game when we were at PAX and everything, and like I fucking loved it. And then it was just like I didn't want to buy it and then have Sony be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's that code we're going to send you. So I didn't buy it, and then I like, and then it just, that being said, like that is a game that I will absolutely be buying, and I know already from what I've already played of it that I will be playing it to completion. And
I'm actually kind of disappointed that I haven't gone back and got the platinum.
Did we already talk about how many awesome games were coming out last year?
Yeah. I think my problem is goddamn Destiny. They should have fucked it up so that I didn't like it anymore and I wouldn't play it, and then I would have played like double the amount of stuff I did.
Just uninstall Destiny and only play other things.
That won't happen. Okay, Dayne, you're number 3.
So this is a bit of a weird one.
I was going to say, it's not in my top 10. It's not even in my honorable mentions.
No, and that's fair. Here's the thing. So my number's, well, not even number 3, but it's in my list.
Part of your top 10.
Part of my top 10 is Far Cry 5. Now, and I know a lot of people are like, what the fuck? And the thing is that I thought a lot about it, and that's a game that the story is shit. It's like it's like anything to do with what was happening to move whatever story or whatever narrative along is garbage. It's terrible in that game. But as a giant open world sandbox that I could just jack cars, fly around, drop bombs on stuff, shoot dudes, go fishing, go hunting, go save bears and cougars and other like animals and just play around in, it's probably one of the best sandboxes I've ever had. And like I went back because I own Far Cry 4, and I went back to play Far Cry 4, and like the story in Far Cry 4 is already 100 times better than the story in Far Cry 5 ever can be. But I won't lie, like the actual gameplay of Far Cry 4 compared to Far Cry 5, it can't hold a candle to it. It's like it just doesn't feel as tight. The shooting's not as good. Just like grabbing, like just getting from point A to point B, being able to jump on a helicopter and fly around the map and all of that stuff in that game, I feel like it's almost worth playing just for all that stuff. And that's the thing. It's like I had a lot of great moments in that game. I had a lot of
fun with it.
Where I was just, and again, like I said, the story is crap. This like anything to do with the story sucked.
The ending was awesome. I liked the ending.
Yeah, the ending was whatever. It was an ending.
I really liked the ending.
Like, for me, I think the biggest thing was like literally the whole at certain points being sucked into
the bliss
whatever
shit.
Yeah,
forced out of what you were doing to them. No, we're going to drag you kicking and screaming to do this story shit, and you have no choice.
Yeah, to the point where like you're flying a helicopter, and they're like, "Oh, suddenly you got hit by a bliss," but like it didn't make any sense.
Heat-seeking bliss bullet,
exactly,
straight in the balls.
That apparently you didn't just crash your helicopter and die. You somehow managed to wake up, a day later in some weird bunker thing. But yeah, like honestly, man, like that sandbox though is so much fun to play in. It's just to go wingsuiting and to just to play in the sandbox that for me was what I absolutely loved about Far Cry 5, and I think that's the thing that stuck with me throughout the year, was that stuff in that game. So hence it made my list. Yeah.
My number 2, Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, this could have very well been my number 1, but I haven't managed to beat it.
It could also not even be on the list. Who knows by the time he gets there how things may or may not change.
Red Dead Redemption, the 20 or 30 hours I've played of it, maybe not that long, 20 hours.
Wow.
Is pretty freaking fantastic. It is an amazing achievement. Like, from animation, visuals, acting. Just, it's unreal. You just will be in the world, and it's like, this is like just a beautiful like Western art piece that is alive, and I can do whatever I want, however I want. Shoot people up, rob stuff, walk in the store, rob people, steal a freaking, bunch of horses, go help someone on the side of the road that's stuck, let alone all the weird, crazy side stories, and let alone the big campaign story that you're playing through. Arthur is a fantastic character. People have complaints that can't get behind the controls. When you start picking it apart, like a video game or any video game, you can pretty much, destroy any game for issues they have, because they all have them. It's just whether you can get over the issue yourself and just play the game and experience it for what it is, and not get caught up in the nonsense. Kind of like what you did with Darksiders 3, right? Like, let's be honest. If some people get caught up and it's like, no, fuck this game, throw the controller and they're done, right? And that's unfair.
Sometimes. I mean, to be totally honest, Darksiders 3, that was very fair at the beginning. It was very fair.
No, but you still stuck through it. Whereas a lot of people will quit and then they'll just shit talk that game. Like some people shit talk Red Dead Redemption. They're like, oh, I don't like the heavy movement and this and that. And it's like, well, it's not your game. It's the game they made and the experience and story they want you to play.
Yeah.
You're not playing Super Mario 64, turning on a dime, double jumping crazy. Like, it's the game that has the control contributes to the feel of that world. Anyway, Red Dead 2 is a fantastic freaking technical marvel masterpiece. It's an amazing game. I love it. I haven't beaten it, unfortunately. And I'm going to play more, obviously. I will beat it. That's the thing, is like, it could very well have been my game of the year, but at the same time, my game of the year, we'll get to it.
You're playing a lot of Destiny? Is that what you're gonna say?
That might be part of the problem.
The one thing I will say, and like obviously I have not played Red Dead Redemption 2. The one thing I will say that I find interesting though is that game came out however long ago now, mid-November. October, sorry.
I think it was the end of
And what
October.
I find interesting though is like for you're generally like you start stuff like that and you're pretty good about like fucking trucking through and like playing it like crazy.
See, the problem,
and like the weird thing is like this is the one thing I will say though is like what I find interesting is that like instead of fucking full steam ahead Red Dead Redemption 2 all the way crazy, you've managed to play fucking probably twice as much Destiny and a multitude of other things, and every once in a while you tend to go back to Red Dead. Like
I haven't. I played.
It's interesting though.
I played Astrobot.
Yep.
Ever since Red Dead came out, the only other games I've really played are Beat Saber and Astrobot. And Beat Saber, I've only scratched the surface.
And Destiny.
Astrobot, just let me finish. Astrobot, I managed to finish. Destiny's just so easy to jump. That's the problem with Destiny. It's so easy to jump in and make some progress. Is when I play one of my complaints is Red Dead is when I play it. I want to play it for like 3 hours,
right?
Because you can't just stop in the middle of a mission or a story. And it's like, I either have my wife calling me or my kid calling me, and then just the way it works is it's like, oh, I only have 45 minutes before bed. Well, I can play a couple matches of Crucible and Gambit, or do a strike, or do some progress and get that loot ding ding in Destiny, and that's why it sneaks in so easily. And
I'm not gonna lie, man. That game came out. Sorry, I'm going back to when that game came out. I'm looking through our podcast notes here, and like, you definitely played Red Dead Redemption 2 quite a bit when it first came out.
I did play it,
but honestly, man, you played a shitload of other games since then, and you did not really touch it at all. Between Hitman 2, Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah, but only I played Pikachu at work. I play Smash at work. Yeah. I don't play it at work.
Obviously, we talked about Astrobot. Then you played like a bunch of PlayStation Classic. You played a ton of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Desert Child, Battle Princess Madeline, Ashen.
All very
Fallout
quick.
76.
All very quick. Oh, Fallout
Mutant
76.
Year Zero, Below.
Yeah, I played lots of stuff.
Like I'm
Don't
just
get me
saying,
wrong,
like
but
I'm not trying to like say, like I'm
Red
not,
Dead is
you know.
massive, and it's like you and Hitman. It's like when I sit down to play it, it's kind of daunting, right?
Yeah, it's just the only reason I bring this up is because there's another guy at work that it's interesting because he kind of is in the same boat. It's like he picked it up day one. He's been playing it, and every time I talk to him, I'm like, "So how's like your Red Dead going?" And he's like, it's like going, you know. It's like he's like I like the thought of playing Red Dead, but then when it comes down to like playing it, a lot of the time I end up playing other things, and it's like it's like, and again, very small sample size. It's a weird thing where like other games tend to like, you know, like
It's also a little bit depressing too. So
that's fair.
It's a heavy game.
Yeah.
So
I kind of like know probably more about the story than you do at this point because I've listened to some other podcasts with like story stuff in it, and like that fucking story goes some pretty dark places. So like I definitely get that for sure.
I played it twice in the last week, so I'm still playing it, but it's just like I know once I really start playing it, then I'll stop playing other stuff. And then the issue being that stupid Destiny keeps freaking dropping new content every week, and it's like, keeps sucking me back in. But anyway, regardless, Red Dead 2 is freaking awesome.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's an amazing game.
If it ever comes to PC, I might play.
Oh, it's going to come to PC. No doubt.
Until then, I don't know. After watching videos and shit of the way that game plays, I don't know if it's a game that I will. I'm just worried that I'm going to buy it and I'm going to play like a few hours of it and I'm going to be like, nope, fuck this. That's the thing that I worry about. So
your number 2 was Destiny, which we already talked about.
Yes.
Which brings us to our number 1s, which are the same.
It is probably the first time, or one of the first times that's actually happened in our game of the years. I know last year it was different. I know the year before it was different.
I can't remember, honestly. I feel like the one year we both said Witcher, but maybe we didn't because you didn't play as much.
That's 2015, man.
I know.
It's a long time ago.
It is a long time. That's why I don't remember. Anyway.
But yeah, that was definitely both of our game of the year.
Number 1. God of War.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This game I could not put down. Very similar to Spider-Man. Also probably has something to do with the timing that I got these games. There was really nothing else to pull me away.
Yeah. No,
well.
that's definitely helpful. I actually just dropped probably 7 hours on God of War last weekend, trying to catch up on some stuff that I'd sort of dropped off on earlier in the year and such. And like, man, that story goes some places. I hit some places in that story that really like that. It really picked up and just, wow.
Talk about a reimagining, reinvention of a franchise.
Yeah.
But
if you would have pitched that idea to me, like as like, okay, this is the God of War 4, kind of was a bit of a bummer, didn't do great, and now we want to reboot it. And if you were like Corey and you came to me and you're like, I want to do this with God of War, I would have been like, you want to do what?
I'm going to put Kratos in the ground. I'm going to tighten up the camera over the shoulder.
I honestly would have probably thought that he was nuts. But it works, and God, it works so good. And the crashing of the pantheons, and like the Norse pantheon colliding with the Greek pantheon, and like having those gods and those worlds collide, and
let alone the freaking Thor axe is like one of the best gaming mechanics in such a long time.
It's so good. And then like are we getting into spoilers here? Like, I don't know. Like, a game's been out a while. Like,
I don't want to spoil stuff. It hasn't even been out a year.
Man, there is a moment in that game where you go and you get some shit in it. I was like fucking like, oh hell yeah, that's happening right now. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. The boat ride back home.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing section.
Yeah, and I just
that's not really spoilerish because the boat's is a huge part of the game. So yeah, it's a awesome game. I platinumed it. The journey of Kratos and his son, like
it's incredible too, because like it's an open world that you can go explore, but it's not insane. Like it's not like when you like compare the size of something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
like Red Dead or Odyssey. Yeah,
like it's tiny compared to like Odyssey.
It's a tight open world that's finally designed.
It's so well put together, and it's dense.
And it's very vertical too. Like the world expands, as you play the storyline, how the world changes because of the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah. And some of the side stuff that you don't even ever have to go and find. And it's a journey that you come across, and you're just like, holy shit, that's a fucking dragon. What the, like, it's just moments like that and like the thing is like you don't have to go and see that or do that, or like that's entirely up to you. Just like, oh, you went exploring, and here is some crazy awesome shit that you're seeing now.
The side stuff,
and it's just and visually stunning. The use of color and just it's so vivid and alive.
Your PS4 screams like it's being like something bad's happening to it. It's working so hard.
Or something real good.
Yeah, an amazing journey. Like the story it's just a journey for the characters in it. For Kratos and Atreus, and then the other characters. There's only a handful of characters.
No, there's not that many characters.
But the interactions, I feel like they're so almost meaningful,
so memorable.
And I feel like a lot of the story connects. I don't know, probably connects even more with me being a father now as well.
Probably because Atreus is kind of annoying for me, but.
Yeah, but you haven't beat it yet. It changes.
No? Oh, I know.
But that's part of the story. They do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because he's not like that the whole time.
Oh, I'm already getting into that.
But anyway, what a fantastic game. The single take camera, the no cutting to load screens, just the continuous, you're always in the game. Such an amazing technical feat as well. Like I even said earlier in the year, like when Far Cry came out, I compared my issues with it storytelling wise because of how impactful God of War is, because you're always in the game. You're in a cutscene. Cutscenes are seamless, like game, cutscene, no black screen with a spinny disc icon that rips you out of the experience, right? Or out of the moment. It's just, you're always in the game. Whereas and it kills me in other games that they do that. And obviously you have to design your game around that. So that's a technical marvel. Like, not all game engines could possibly do that, but I really want to see more games do that, And I think Red Dead is close to almost kind of doing that. There are still some loading screens, but they're not I wouldn't say they're as bad as some other games are, which are freaking very terrible. Yeah. So God of War, fantastic. If you haven't played it, man.
If you own a PS4, you have to play it.
You have to play
That's, obviously that's the only thing. Like, it's not out for every platform. It is a PS4 exclusive. But I feel like this year, God of War, Spider-Man, there's been some amazing PS4 exclusives.
If you don't own a PS4.
So, there you go. That is the Geekoholics Anonymous Game of the Year.
2018. In 2019.
But we always do that. We don't. we do things a little differently over here.
Do you want to save some of this news for next week because we're getting a little long in the tooth?
Fine. Let's do everything you want to do.
Well, we can do it. I just don't know how
I'm
long.
just kidding. No, that's a fair. I don't feel like any of this stuff is super time sensitive. And to be fair, there wasn't a ton of news this week.
There isn't. Yeah, you know what? We can probably cover this pretty quick. So yeah, let's get into the news and stuff. The news. The story is kind of crazy.
This hold on. This story is a story. Let's just say that, because this is such a he said, she said, hearsay situation where, in all honesty, when we were starting this show, I was like, do we even really need to talk about this? Like, I don't know. It feels kind of weird.
Yeah, we don't really get into the industry drama stories that often.
Yeah.
So the story is Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford is being sued by a former lawyer that they had a bad friend breakup. And basically there's a lawsuit alleging that he basically improperly siphoned $12 million for personal gain from Gearbox. Anyway,
it gets like, I mean,
it gets like, really muddy.
We're not going to get super into this because like the lawyer sued Randy Pitchford, and then Randy Pitchford has since like they were all like Gearbox, they're both suing each other.
Gearbox is suing the lawyer.
It's so weird
and borrowing money that wasn't paid back, and then I guess Wade Callender, which was I guess good buddies of his, and they clearly had a falling out. I was like, well, he didn't pay them back, so then they're suing him, and then he's like, oh yeah, well, you stole money from the company, and yeah, and then remember that time you had a USB stick with company secrets and child porn on it? Totally to derail like all the attention of him probably being more in the wrong than Randy is, to be honest. Because that's neither here nor there. That's just, these guys are just, it's getting real ugly with airing their dirty laundry in the public forum. So, you know, people are like, oh man, Randy's a freaking freak and child porn. What a fucking, you know, it's kind of like, that's real dirty.
Yeah, this whole thing is just it's so weird.
The story here is put together
places and
if you're interested in this like super drama, which will probably end up becoming a movie one day, we got the story in the show notes. It's just crazy. After, I don't know, I feel like Gearbox has had a few stumbles lately. We don't have Borderlands 3. They shit out freaking VR Borderlands 2. What was the last game? Battleborn was a freaking flippity flop. Aliens, Colonial Marine, people feel... I don't know. Gearbox is like super loved, and I just don't think many people have much love for them. I don't want to hear about this crap. I want to hear about a goddamn Borderlands 3, because I love Borderlands 2. Either way, just a weird, crazy story.
Gearbox has been a bit of a weird roller coaster ride for the last while. So, I know a lot of the top, I don't know what's going on over there.
A lot of the top talent have left. Like a lot of the people who did a lot of the voices from Borderlands, they've all long gone. Writers from Borderlands 2 are long gone. Like I don't even know.
Of people that I've seen exiting that company over the last several years kind of makes me think that something's going on over there.
When your boss is stealing $12 million, so
allegedly. Well,
he's not stealing it. He just cheated bonuses and didn't share it with everyone else. That's kind of gross. This is one of those stories that's going to develop, and we'll get some updates, and we'll see. It's going to be real fun to see what comes out the other end of this. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I find intriguing. Because I think that's gross. He's already rich. He's a CEO of a company. Like why aren't you?
I mean, I don't know his finances, but I would assume he's rich.
I would assume he is too.
I mean, making video games is super expensive. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said,
moving along.
Weird story.
Rocket League now features full cross-platform play between PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, and PC.
So they are now the second game besides Fortnite to do this.
So that's pretty cool. So it's in beta on PlayStation. So you can't create a cross-platform party. Just in matchmaking, it'll mix you up with everyone. That it is going to come.
Okay.
But just right now, they're just testing. It works. You can jump on Rocket League and you could be playing with everyone else. So that's cool. Who's next?
There you go.
I don't know.
Apparently, you just got to check the box that says cross-platform play in the gameplay tab, and then away you go.
Uncharted movie has a new director.
That's still happening?
Yeah. It is Dan Trachtenberg from 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is really cool.
I feel like at this point, we got that fucking awesome Uncharted fan film with Nathan Fillion. That's what I want. That's what I want at this point. I saw that and I was like, that right there is my Uncharted wet dream. That's what I want them to make. And I feel like that's what I've always wanted them to make. But then the fan film came out and it was so good. And it has now wet my whistle for how good it could be if that's what it was. I feel like at this point, I'm just going to be disappointed now. Like, they've got Tom Holland as the star. Like, he's going to be like he's playing the
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I've actually met Dan several times at PAX. I think he's a really cool guy. 10 Cloverfield Lane, I thought was a really good movie.
Tom Holland is the star? Like, really?
Hey,
that's Spider-Man, and he's a freaking young kid.
Yeah,
like
it really Nathan. It's unfortunate it's not Nathan Fillion, but this movie's been kind of a bit of a disaster. But
yeah,
the thing that makes me excited is Dan will respect the franchise, and he's a gamer. So
yeah, no, and then, like that part of it, I'm like really like, and who knows? Maybe this is one of those situations where Tom Holland surprises everybody, and they're like, "Wow, like this is cool," and it works out really well, and he's a much better.
That's what I'm hoping for
than anything.
Production hasn't even started; it's been in limbo forever. So it's like one of those like give it the benefit of the doubt, but
it's just at this point with what I've seen of that, it kind of makes me go like maybe having Mark Wahlberg as. And back when they were going to actually make this 3-4 years ago, maybe that wouldn't have been a bad idea. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
And who knows? It could still totally die on the vine because it's a fucking video game movie in Hollywood.
It could. This is true. This next story was kind of a big deal. Big bomb. Yes, no, sort of.
Have they confirmed or denied this yet?
They made a statement, yes. So anyway, the story this is from Kotaku, from our friend Jason Schreier. EA cancels open world Star Wars game. So this is in EA Vancouver.
So this is the game that was taken over from Visceral Games. So essentially, for those of you following along, Visceral Games, they started making a Star Wars game. And then they shuttered that studio and moved whatever production and completely pivoted, as they said, on making that game and handed it to EA Vancouver. And now, apparently, that game that they were working on has since been canceled.
And they are apparently, because of the scale is what the story is, and that it's being turned into something a smaller scale, and that here we are, EA. The gist of the story is that EA is really effing up their shit with Star Wars, and people are starting to get pissed, and it's kind of amazing that Disney hasn't freaking stepped in and smacked their PP yet. This is just effing ridiculous. After Battlefront 2 disaster, to this, this is like 2 Star Wars games they've essentially canceled. One publicly they've announced. This one they've like hush.
I don't know how you have such a hard time making Star Wars games.
It's fucking EA and they're idiots. And they only know how to make sports games and games with loot boxes.
Yeah. So apparently when EA Vancouver took over,
EA doesn't know how to make
rebooted
games.
the Star Wars project entirely, keeping some of the assets but transforming it into an open world game. Now that has been canceled, and EA has since responded with their statement, which reads, "There's been speculation overnight about one of our Star Wars projects. As a natural part of the creative process, the great work by our team in Vancouver continues and will evolve into future Star Wars content and games. We're fully committed to making more Star Wars games. We're very excited about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn, and we'll share more about our new projects when the time is right. So they're essentially saying, yes, that got canceled, but we're pivoting again into something else, and we're going to try and recoup some of the costs because we've, at this point, probably spent tens of millions of dollars on building something that is clearly not.
Hey, but remember, Respawn, they actually can make single-player campaign games, and that'll be the only... I'm calling it right now. That's going to be the only good Star Wars thing that EA is going to have released during this whole agreement with Disney.
Well, they've already released one other one, right? Like, they've released the first Battlefront game.
I said the only good. This is going to be the best thing, is going to be the Respawn game. Yeah. I'm just calling it right now. The Battlefront stuff has been a huge disappointment, let alone all the drama involved. I don't think EA knows how to make anything but sports games and games with predatory microtransactions. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, I can't think of an EA studio game in the longest time that I care for or want to play at all.
I mean, this is the first Battlefield game that I haven't played.
Yeah, I didn't play it. It did terrible, apparently. It's like tanking. It's going to be free soon.
I mean,
anyway, EA's a bunch of...
I don't know. I feel like maybe in regards to that, I think that maybe DICE has got, they got the Battlefront game and they've got the Battlefield game. I don't know. I think maybe they're stretched too thin.
Yeah. DICE, like, Battlefront 2 sold like gangbusters. Like, let's not lie, right?
Yeah,
but
no.
Critically panned.
Yeah.
Like, it sold tons, but it's like essentially, what is it, $5 or $10 now?
I don't know. I bought it real cheap. It was like $7 or something.
Like less than a year after releasing. That's like ridiculous.
I'm not gonna lie. I bought it for the single player because I was really curious and I wanted to play this single player, and I don't know if it was worth that. Yeah. It just, I don't know. I think DICE is in a scary position right now, to be honest. I agree.
But that's neither here nor there.
When was the last thing that they released that everybody was like, fuck yeah, this is really good? I mean, maybe the first Battlefield game was like a lot of appeal.
Yeah,
I guess that's true.
Battlefield 1 did well. Battlefront
did.
Battlefront 1 did well. Battlefield 1 did well. And then they, from a sales standpoint, like I said, Battlefront 2 did well. Battlefield 5 shit the bed. Let alone all the damage, like, with the community and the players with Battlefront 2. It's like, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
No.
Some Nintendo news. Nintendo Switch Online could be adding SNES, Super Nintendo games, according to dataminers. Apparently...
That's definitely more interesting now. That would make me want to actually subscribe to it.
Apparently, some data miners are digging through the code for the NES Nintendo Switch Online app, which is the NES games.
Right.
And they found a list of 22 SNES games in there, and 4 different emulator types.
Really?
Yeah, suggesting that there will be more beyond Super Nintendo games. But a list of the games...
If they start dropping TurboGrafx 16 games on there, I'm fucking there. I will sign up in a heartbeat.
The list of the games is Super Mario Kart, Super Soccer, Link to the Past, Demon's Crest, Yoshi's Island, Stunt Race Effects, Kirby's Dream Course, Poppin' Twinbee, Star Fox, Contra 3, Superstar, Kirby Superstar, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Pilot Wings, F-Zero, Star Fox 2, Super Punch-Out, The Legend of Mystical Ninja, Super Mario All-Stars, and Breath of Fire 2.
So, I mean, probably half that list is out on the Super on the Super NES.
A bunch of those games are on
Mini.
the SNES Classic, yep.
Yeah.
There's rumored Nintendo Direct happening sometime in January. Man, it seemed pretty obvious that Super Nintendo should be coming. If it's part of the online Nintendo freaking Netflix, hell yeah. I would love to play these games on my Switch. I've played a surprising amount of Super Nintendo games in the last year on my SNES Classic, so that's dope. So I don't know why you would have reference to those games in the files if that wasn't eventually coming to light. So
who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that.
Like I said,
like
if they expanded it to that and they add in some TurboGrafx 16 stuff,
TurboGrafx, was it on the Virtual Console?
Yeah. There's actually a bunch of TurboGrafx stuff on the store right now that you can buy. On the Switch even right now.
As standalone. Just apps.
But it's like I don't know, man. We've talked about this before. I have a really hard time buying stuff that I don't think is gonna go. Like if they release a Switch 2 or whatever, it's just not gonna go anywhere. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't invest heavily in Virtual Console because
neither did I.
So disconnected.
Yeah, and I'm glad I didn't, because like I have a friend of mine. He dropped probably hundreds of dollars into the Wii Virtual Console stuff, and like none of that stuff went anywhere. He's got a Switch now, and none of it's like
it's like
and it sucks because there's no reason it couldn't. It's just Nintendo. They're like, nope, fuck that.
Yeah.
So
moving along. So public service announcements. I got no PlayStation, no Xbox, though this public service announcement is PlayStation related. PlayStation VR they've updated the PlayStation VR demo disc. And it has Astrobot and some other updated demos. So if you're looking for some stuff to check out on the VRs.
Sweet.
Anyway, that's available to download on the different PSN stores. And then our free-for-all section, just a quick one. Spider-Man Far From Home trailer came out. Looks pretty cool. Spoiler alert. Spider-Man's still alive after... what?
Hold on. So, that is definitely not confirmed. People are talking about where in the continuity this game or this movie lies, and they are not sure if it actually happens before the events of the last Avengers movie or after. Is this a continuation of after the last? Obviously, it happens after the last Spider-Man movie, but they're super torn. The whole internet is all up in arms.
I thought I read somewhere that they confirmed it's after Infinity War.
Not that I'm aware of.
Anyway, cool trailer.
Yeah,
looks
Spider-Man
cool
is far from home. He's in Europe.
Yeah, it looks like a fun... I'm sure it'll be just as good as Homecoming. Will it be better? I don't know. Homecoming was pretty freaking rad.
Homecoming is pretty awesome.
Yeah, check out the trailer. It's out there. Or don't, if you don't want to know anything. Sorry, I spoiled Mysterio for you. Mysterio's in there. Spoiler alert.
Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? You'll have to watch and find out.
He's a bad guy, isn't he?
Well, traditionally. But after watching that trailer, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was confused too.
So there you go. Like I said.
And we have a question.
Really?
I guess if we're going this long, we may as well get the question. So, Cly Guy from the Discord, a.k.a. Big B.
Big B.
Wants to know what we think about... Well, we did kind of talk about it last week, the Division 2 on the Epic launcher.
Yeah.
He has no issue with them offering the game on Epic, but to take it off Steam seems like a swipe at them. And he asks, what do we think? I think that is absolutely correct, and exactly what it is a huge swipe at Steam and being like, guess what? Valve, Gabe Newell, we don't need to put up with your bullshit. We can go elsewhere.
I guess my question is, and I would have to go back and try to confirm this, and I don't know if it was possible now. Was it ever offered on Steam?
I don't think it was ever offered on Steam. I think it had a landing page, but you couldn't buy it.
You know what? It totally had a landing page.
It did have a page, but you couldn't buy it.
I remember it was on my wish list at one point. So it definitely did have a landing page.
It definitely had a page. I remember it having a page, but you couldn't buy it.
But I don't believe you could even pre-order it. Like it was I think all it said was coming soon or something like that.
I think it's good. I think they need competition, and like Dana said, like there's the fears of stores closing, but there's also the fears of having no competition. No competition's a bad thing. Anything that makes Steam more competitive. Steam, like, to be honest, in my opinion, has gotten pretty lazy and laying back in their piles of money and just like, we don't need to do anything better. Hence why Discord came along and blew up, because Steam was so bad at their community support and voice chat and like advanced like community features, right? Discord wouldn't exist if Steam was doing their shit.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Steam's kind of been like, no, we got the Steam sales and everybody comes to us because we're PC and we're Viggity Valve, Dota 2, bloopity bloopity blue.
It's another situation where it just showcases that competition in the proper situations can be really, really awesome. Because, of course, after Discord came along, then Steam suddenly, like, all of their community shit got way better.
Yeah, still not as good, but they did force them to do
so
something.
much better. That's the thing, right? Like, it made them up their game. I think that this is like a two, because like obviously this is going to be offered on the Uplay store still directly through
of course,
Ubisoft, which is what they always do.
Yeah.
I think that they're still offering games on third-party services. It's not like they're pulling all of their games from Steam.
No, they're just experimenting.
I think it's like from a business perspective, it's very smart. And I also think that it's smart because it's, I think you kind of nailed it in a way. It is a slight to Steam because it's kind of them going like, you don't hold all the power anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think it puts, like, obviously Ubisoft, I think it puts them in a better position really to talk to Steam and maybe figure out a way to get a better deal. Like, it's like to have to give away 30% of your sales
that's
to Steam
ridiculous.
Is kind of crazy. So, when you're able to go to a competing service, like, because the thing is here is that, like, Ubisoft could be like, they could pull an EA and they could just be like,
just Uplay only. But then I'm going
to use Uplay only. And
how many
and the
sales
thing is,
do you lose by doing that?
Right. I get the question there becomes the sales that you lose. Is that going to be made up by the fact that you're keeping 100% of the profit though?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I'm sure that they look
and
at
I would
all
say
that.
they know the math doesn't make that decision. They haven't. If there was nothing to lose, they would do that.
Right.
But to be honest, it's not. You would lose too many sales. And like I was listening to the Bombcast, and I don't know if these numbers are true, but someone brought up on their most recent episode that apparently 60% of Fortnite players that have the Epic Store installed, because you have the Epic Store installed if you play Fortnite essentially now, don't have Steam. So I don't know 60% of what? 60% of 1 million, 2 million, 10 million? I imagine it's tens of millions because Fortnite's a free-to-play game. And it's some teens' first game on PC, potentially. So it's their first introduction to stores and marketplaces and whatnot. Yeah. And that's a huge number that, hey, there's only like 10 games in here and you're on the front page with your Division freaking 2 being highlighted all the time. Like, how many sales does that equate to?
It's huge,
and you get more, and you get to keep more of your money.
Yeah,
I mean, no brainer decision.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I mean, I think that Ubisoft has pretty much said, like, look, we want to keep our, we want to keep putting games on our third party, stores.
The only issue I'd say with the Epic Store is that every game there is essentially competing with Fortnite, which is free.
Yeah.
At any time, anyone's like, "Oh, I just paid $60 for this, and I have way more fun with Fortnite, and it's free. I'd say that's the only negative being on the Epic Store.
I think it also has to do with looking at what Epic's doing, and Ubisoft as a company. This is a good way for them to it's a way for them to say we like what you're doing, and kind of in a way put their money where their mouth is too, right? By saying like we're happy and we like the things that you're doing, and we're going to support that. And obviously they make more money out of it, so what's not to like? That being said, like, again, they're not pulling their games from Steam. They're not removing everything. So, like, all of that isn't, changing. It's just that release is only coming out on the Epic Game Store. And, like, ultimately, if that bothers you or whatever, and you just want to play the games, then by all means, just pick it up on the Uplay Store, because they get 100% of it that way.
Yeah.
And ultimately, no matter what you play those things on, you're still going to be going through their Uplay app anyways, because it kind of just uses it as a way to pull it into your Uplay store. Like,
well, exactly. It's how they get you to sideload Uplay.
Totally.
Because let's be honest, if I didn't have to install freaking Uplay to play my Ubisoft PC games, I would not install Uplay, because I honestly think it's terrible.
I think that it's gotten a lot better. It at one point was by far and away the worst thing out there. It was terrible. Origin,
Uplay, freaking GOG, like, they're all fine. They're all separate stores, but they don't offer me any value. Like, disconnected friends lists that, don't compete to my Steam. Like, it's just, I
feel like GOG is a little bit different, because at least all of their games don't have any DRM,
like, and
they look at a lot of older games. Like, you can pick up a lot of really old games and games that other people aren't supporting. So I feel like GOG is a little bit on its own.
If I just didn't have to install that crap, I just wouldn't. I hate installing shit on my computer. I like a nice, slim, clean machine.
Dude, this is the way it's all going, though. Whether it's games or like streaming services. I mean, I feel bad for our friends down in the States, because next year shit is going to get real down there. Because already, we're seeing Warner with their DC Universe stuff. They're already pulling things off of Netflix and putting them only on there. We've already seen the CBS app down there, where they were putting things that you got to sign up for that.
You got Hulu, you got Amazon, you got that, you got Disney's thing coming. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, Disney's
paying as much or more for freaking streaming services as you did for cable.
That's exactly,
and you ain't gonna have anything live, no sporting events, no news.
And this is the thing that's happening. And, like, I think that people were like, oh, we're going to be cord cutters, rah, 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 like, we're rebels. And, like, what's going to end up coming back around
just went up.
is there those people, they're going to end up fucking subscribing to cable, because they can get all their local shit, and then they can choose what they want, and it's still going to be cheaper than, like, subscribing to 12 different services.
In a few years, it's going to get pretty pricey, having all the different streaming platforms. I guess the nice thing is,
you think about it, you spend $12, up here at least, you spend, like, what is it, $12 or $14 on Netflix a month.
It's close to 15 for me if you got the Ultra HDR pack.
There you go. So then you're so next year in the States, then you also want to pick up on the Disney stuff, because you got a kid and you want to watch all the Disney movies and crap. So there's another $15 a month. So then you decide you want to watch the new whatever that's coming out. So now you've got the DC Universe pack. Like, it just, this is going to get ridiculous. And some people are going to argue that obviously, well, now I can just choose what I want to watch, and I can only subscribe to the things that I want to subscribe to. But it's like, if you want to watch a bunch of different things across multiple platforms, if you want to watch HBO and you want to watch this and you want to watch that, suddenly you're subscribing to all these different platforms, and it ends up costing you the same or more than your cable bill was already. Mm-hmm. And
we're going off the rails.
Sucks.
Dayne,
but that's a show.
Yes, I think we have a podcast. What is it? 189.
189
Game of the Year Extravaganza. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at RickF, RICF, no K.
You can always come bug me on Twitter at Dayne Cody, at DAYNECODY.
Are you gonna say something?
Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to follow. Make sure to hit us up on iTunes. That's the one that really helps. Drop us a review or give us a rating on there. That helps to build the user base. That helps to send out all the information so that all the people are want to send us games and cool stuff like that. Helps us get into things so that we don't have to pay, because as anybody who knows, this can be a very expensive industry. So it helps the show. It helps us. It helps you in turn, because then we can get cool content to give to you guys.
Exactamundo.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
And yeah, that's about it. Until next week, I am going to say we are out.
Go play God of War, boy.
Boy. Peace.